Subscribe my YouTube channel, Blessed Billionaire.
Hey, I'm going to tell you something that most financial advisors won't. The 401k benchmarks you've been told to follow are completely wrong. Not slightly wrong, not a little off, completely, fundamentally, dangerously wrong. And if you follow them, you're going to end up either working way too long or retiring way too poor, neither of which is acceptable. Today, I'm going to give you the real numbers, the numbers based on actual wealth-building principles, not corporate HR department guidelines. The numbers based on Torah wisdom about money, not Wall Street marketing. And I'm going to show you exactly how much you should have saved in your 401k by age, not what Fidelity says, not what your company's retirement calculator says, what you actually need. But first, I need to destroy 3 myths that are keeping millions of Americans trapped in financial mediocrity. Myth number 1. The 401k is the best retirement vehicle. It's not. It's one tool, and for most people, it shouldn't even be your primary tool. Let me explain. A 401k is a tax-deferred account. You put money in pre-tax, it grows tax-deferred, and you pay taxes when you withdraw it in retirement. Sounds great, right? Except for one problem. You're making a bet. You're betting that your tax rate in retirement will be lower than your tax rate today. But what if it's not? What if taxes go up? What if your retirement income is higher than you expected? What if the government changes the rules? Then you've just deferred your taxes into a higher tax bracket. You've actually made your situation worse. In the Torah, Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream and advises him to save during the 7 years of abundance to prepare for the 7 years of famine. But notice, he didn't say, defer your grain taxes. He said, store grain. The principle is, save real assets, not tax promises. Now, I'm not saying don't use a 401k. I'm saying don't rely on it exclusively. Diversify your retirement accounts. Have a 401k. Have a Roth IRA. Have a taxable brokerage account. Number 3. The benchmarks you've been given are accurate. This is the biggest myth, and it's the one I'm going to destroy today. You've probably seen the charts. By age 30, you should have 1 times your salary saved. By age 40, 3 times your salary. By age 50, 6 times your salary. These numbers are garbage, complete garbage. Why? Because they're based on salary, not on actual retirement needs. They assume everyone has the same lifestyle, the same expenses, the same goals, the same retirement age. But you don't. Your situation is unique. Your needs are unique. Your goals are unique. So following generic benchmarks is like wearing someone else's prescription glasses. Sure, they're glasses, but they're not your glasses, and you're going to walk into walls. So let me give you the real framework, the framework based on actual retirement math, not corporate HR guidelines. Here's the truth. The amount you need in your 401k by any age depends on 3 things and 3 things only. Thing number 1, your annual expenses in retirement, not your salary, your expenses. What will you actually spend? Most people assume they'll spend 80% of their pre-retirement income, but this is often wrong. Some people spend less because their mortgage is paid off and their kids are grown. Some people spend more because they're finally traveling and doing the things they postponed for decades. You need to know your number, not a generic percentage, your actual number. Thing number 2, your retirement age. If you're planning to retire at 65, you need less saved than if you're planning to retire at 50, obviously. But here's what most people don't consider. Your retirement age should be based on when you want to retire, not when society says you should retire. 65 is arbitrary. It was invented by Otto von Bismarck in 1889 when life expectancy was 67. It has nothing to do with your life, your goals, your situation. So decide, when do you want to retire? Not when you're supposed to, when you actually want to. Thing number 3, your other income sources. A year, you need $2 million. If you need $100,000 a year, you need $2.5 million. Simple math. Annual expenses times 25. Now, let's break this down by age, but remember, these are guidelines, not rules. Your situation is unique. By age 30, you should have 1 times your annual expenses saved. Notice I didn't say 1 times your salary. I said 1 times your annual expenses. If you're 30 years old and you spend $40,000 a year, you should have $40,000 saved, not in your 401k necessarily, but saved. In retirement accounts, investment accounts, emergency funds, somewhere. If you're making $80,000 a year, but only spending $40,000, you only need $40,000 saved, not $80,000. This is why living below your means is so powerful. It reduces the amount you need to retire. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rabbi, I'm 30 and I don't have $40,000 saved. Am I screwed? No. You're behind, but you're not screwed. You just need to catch up. And the way you catch up is by increasing your savings rate and decreasing your expenses. By age 40, you should have 3 times to 4 times your annual expenses saved. If you spend $50,000 a year, you should have $150,000 to $200,000 saved by age 40. This is where compound interest starts to really kick in. If you've been saving consistently since age 25, you should be on track. But if you're 40 and you're not there yet, don't panic. You still have 20 to 25 years until retirement. You can still catch up. But you need to get serious. You need to increase your income. You need to decrease your expenses. You need to invest aggressively. In Proverbs 6:6-8, it says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider its ways and be wise. It has no commander, no overseer or ruler, yet it stores its provisions in summer." Thinking about retirement. If you're behind, you need to work a few more years or reduce your expenses in retirement. This is also where you need to start thinking about sequence of returns risk. If the market crashes right when you retire, it can devastate your portfolio. So you need to start de-risking, moving some money from stocks to bonds, building a cash cushion. In the Talmud, there's a teaching. Who is wise? He who sees the future. At 60, you need to see the future. You need to plan for market volatility. You need to protect what you've built. By age 65, you should have 12x to 15x your annual expenses saved. If you spend $80,000 a year, you should have $960,000 to $1.2 million saved by age 65. At this point, if you're on track, you can retire comfortably. You can live off 4% withdrawals. You can enjoy your retirement without financial stress. But notice, I didn't say you should have 1x your salary saved by 30, 3x by 40, 6x by 50. I said 1x your expenses, 3 to 4x your expenses, 6 to 8x your expenses. This is the key distinction. Salary is irrelevant. Expenses are everything. If you make $200,000 a year but spend $150,000, you need $3.75 million to retire. But if you make $80,000 a year and spend $40,000, you only need $1 million. Same retirement, same lifestyle. One person needs $3.75 million, the other needs $1 million. The difference? Lifestyle, expenses, choices. In the Torah, King Solomon, the wealthiest man who ever lived, wrote in Ecclesiastes 5:10, "Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income." The goal isn't to make more money. The goal is to need less money, to be satisfied with less, to live below your means. Because the less you need, the less you have to save. The 20s and 30s, you should be 90 to 100% stocks. You have time. You can handle volatility. You need growth. As you age, you can start adding bonds. But when you're young, go aggressive. In the Talmud, there's a teaching. If not now, when? When you're young, you have time. Use it. Invest aggressively. Let compound interest work for you. Step 5. Increase your income. The single best way to hit your retirement benchmarks is to make more money. Not to save more, to earn more. If you're making $50,000 a year and saving 10%, that's $5,000 a year. But if you increase your income to $100,000 and still save 10%, that's $10,000 a year. Same savings rate, double the savings. So invest in yourself. Learn high-income skills. Start a business. Get promoted. Switch jobs. Do whatever it takes to increase your earning power. Step 6. Live below your means. This is the most important step, and the one most people ignore. If you make $100,000 and spend $90,000, you're broke. But if you make $60,000 and spend $40,000, you're building wealth. It's not about how much you make, it's about the gap between what you make and what you spend. In Proverbs 21:20, it says, "Precious treasure and oil are in a wise man's dwelling, but a foolish man devours it." Don't devour your income. Store it. Invest it. Build wealth with it. Now, let me close with this. These benchmarks are guidelines, not rules. Your situation is unique. Your goals are unique. Your timeline is unique. But if you're significantly behind these benchmarks, you need to make changes. You need to increase your income. You need to decrease your expenses. You need to invest more aggressively. Because the alternative is working until you're 70, 75, 80. And that's not a life. Expensive pensions with cheap 401ks and shift all the risk to employees. And that's exactly what they did. Within 20 years, pensions disappeared and 401ks became the default. But here's the problem. Most people don't know how to invest. Most people don't understand compound interest. Most people don't save enough. Most people don't start early enough. So you have millions of Americans whose entire retirement depends on a system they don't understand, using tools they're not trained to use, making decisions they're not equipped to make. It's like handing someone a scalpel and saying, "Here, do your own surgery. Good luck." This is why I'm so passionate about financial education, because the system is broken. And if you don't educate yourself, you're going to be a victim of it. In the Torah, there's a concept called pikuach nefesh, the preservation of life. It's the principle that saving a life overrides almost every other commandment. And financial education is pikuach nefesh, because financial stress kills. It causes heart attacks. It causes depression. It destroys marriages. It ruins lives. So educating yourself about money isn't just about getting rich. It's about preserving your life, your health, your relationships, your peace of mind. Now let me give you some advanced strategies that most people don't know about. Strategy number 1. The Roth conversion ladder. If you have a traditional 401k, you're going to pay taxes when you withdraw. But here's a strategy. When you retire, before you start taking Social Security, convert portions of your traditional 401k to a Roth IRA each year. Why? Because if you're in a low tax bracket in early retirement, you can convert at a lower rate than you would have paid during your working years. This is advanced, but it can save you tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands in taxes over your lifetime. Strategy number 2. The Mega Backdoor Roth. Some 401k plans allow after-tax contributions beyond the normal limit. If your plan allows this, you can roll their 401k into an IRA. But sometimes it's smarter to leave it in the 401k. Why? Because 401ks have creditor protection that IRAs don't. If you're in a profession with high lawsuit risk, keeping money in a 401k can protect it. Also, if you retire early, you can access your 401k at age 55 without penalty if you leave it in the plan. But if you roll it to an IRA, you have to wait until 59 and a half. These are nuances, but nuances matter when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, let me address the biggest mistake I see people make with their 401ks. They set it and forget it. They sign up when they start their job, they pick some random target date fund, and they never look at it again. This is a disaster, because your 401k is probably your largest asset, and you're ignoring it. You need to review your 401k at least once a year. Check your allocation, check your fees, check your performance, make adjustments. I had a client who came to me at age 55. He had $400,000 in his 401k. Sounds good, right? But when I looked at his account, he was in a target date fund with a 1.2% expense ratio. He'd been in it for 20 years. I ran the numbers. If he'd been in a low-cost index fund with a 0.05% expense ratio, he would have had $520,000. He lost $120,000 to fees. $120,000 because he set it and forgot it. In Proverbs 27:23, it says, "Be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds." Your 401k is your flock. Pay attention to it. Now, let me give you one final piece of advice. The most important advice I can give you about retirement planning. Don't wait until you're ready to start saving. Start now, even if it's small, even if it's just $50 a month. Start, because the power of compound interest is time. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. Let me show you the math. If you invest $500 a month starting at you'll live another 70 years to eat from this tree. The old man replied, "I found carob trees in the world because my ancestors planted them for me. So I plant trees for my children and grandchildren." This is the mindset you need for retirement planning. You're not just saving for yourself, you're planting trees. You're building legacy. You're creating security for future generations. So don't think of your 401k as just a retirement account. Think of it as a tree that will bear fruit for decades, a tree that will provide shade for your children and grandchildren. Plant the tree, water it consistently, protect it from storms, and one day you and your family will eat from its fruit. That's what these benchmarks are really about. Not hitting some arbitrary number, but planting trees, building legacy, creating security. So where are you in your journey? Are you on track? Behind? Ahead? Whatever your situation, commit today to take one action, one step forward. Open an account, increase your contribution, review your allocation, something. Because the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and the journey to a secure retirement begins with a single contribution. In the comments below, tell me, what's the one action you're going to take this week to improve your retirement situation? And if this video gave you clarity, if you now understand where you should be and how to get there, subscribe to this channel. Because next week, I'm going to show you the exact portfolio allocation I recommend for every age and risk tolerance. Remember what Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty." Plan. Be diligent. Stay consistent, and you'll build the retirement you deserve. Shalom, and until next time.